Hello, world. Hello, hello. What's good? I'm Lonnie Appleton. I am a healthy family advocate. Right now, I am here in the capacity of reading the Bible. I don't represent any particular background except for a person that would like to grow closer in relationship with God. And this is the tool that I am utilizing to do so. Not promoting anything except for this is the holy book that I am familiar with. Therefore, this is the holy book that I am going to read and share with you guys. So anyone who's interested, I have Bible study Monday through Saturday at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It is 12:03, so 3 minutes ago every day I go live and I read the Bible and I ask questions. So those of you who are familiar with my content, I'm reading from that perspective. You already know what my vibe is, and that's the way I read the Bible because we all know this is a tool that a lot of people within our community and within the world have used to shape and form their family around. And for generations, from the inception of them throwing Bibles to the bottoms of the boats at the Africans who they captured into slavery, to start forming the minds and twisting the minds. Our communities have been utilizing this book for a while. So God told me to read it, one, so that I can find the truth that lies within these pages of lies, but also so I can grow in relationship with God. And God said, do it on live daily so that those who have wanted to read the Bible, those I've been whispering to, hey, you need to pick your Bible up. And they're like, I ain't reading the dang Bible. I'm pretty entertaining while we read this Bible. So I go off of what's between this cover and this cover, not any other reference points, not any other prior knowledge except for what I learned at church, so that's where we're coming from. We finished the book of Genesis. We are on chapter 13 of Exodus. We are moving pretty quickly through Exodus. It's less of family. I learned Genesis is genetics or genealogy. So that's why I can see Genesis having a lot of begat, who, what, when, where, and why, and where everything's coming from. And showing the family dynamic was really interesting for me because I'm a healthy family advocate. So to see the dysfunction within the family was something. Hey, Miss Tay, friend, I was on live last night. Wasn't even saying nothing. I was talking so topically, like crazy topically, because I know they're gonna violate me for breathing. Nope, don't come over here because if you get in my camera, they will violate me. If I'm talking and a child enters my camera, they cut my live. So whenever my kids try to come, I'm like, nope, palm to the face, because that's fine. I'm talking to these people, so just go be quiet over there. I asked you if you're gonna stay in the room, all right? And so yeah, my violation yesterday didn't even have an end date. Usually my violations are like, for a week or for a day or for 10 minutes. They'll violate me for 10 minutes and just take my whole life. So I started developing a habit of like doing 10 minutes, starting all over, doing 10 minutes, starting all over, and just restarting lives, which I just like, you know what the devil means for bad, God will always turn for good. You know, yes, there are people who sit on my lives who wait for me to say anything that is against community guidelines. This is something that I learned when my husband hosted a game night. There was an individual there who clearly has internalized the Monopoly rule book, knows all the rules backwards and forwards. Now there's different types of people who know the rules. And this is the type of person that knows the rules so that they can manipulate the rules. Do you understand? So it's very important that whether we believe what's in this book is true or not, whether we rock with this book or not, there's a group of individuals who know the rules so they can manipulate the rules. So if you're not familiarizing yourself with the rules because of whatever your biases are, and you're like, I'm not reading that book. It's the slave master's book. There's a book of lies. Whatever biases you have, understand that there's someone that you are up against that knows every single rule in this book, and they can use every single rule in this book to manipulate their environment. And so I'm no longer allowing biases to keep me away from the rules. because I'm going to use it to manipulate my environment too, but in the positive. Me and my daughter, I've been paying attention to language and making sure that I'm changing my language into positive language as often as possible. Being a negative speak person that I have, there's levels to everything, the pendulum. So, no, I'm not extremely negative in my speech. I've come a very long way because I came from self-hate. You can pick up my book at LonnieLifestyle.com. I came from self-hate. So to come from self-hate to where I'm at, I pushed myself a long way, but waking up and realizing there's still language that I need to filter out that does not serve my higher good, lower vibrational language, and it's the language of low self-esteem. No, I don't have low self-esteem, but I still speak low self-esteem language. And so making sure that I'm not imparting low self-esteem into my children and making sure that I'm not speaking low self-esteem language over myself still, because I don't live in that space. I'm dope, and I know my kids are dope, and I know the people I speak to are dope, so I must always pay attention to what I'm saying and speak life. Exodus chapter 13. Don't remember why I went on that tangent, but I made a point. I always make a point. Rather I make a there's the point. I made a couple points. Just pay attention to your language. We need to stop looking for someone to give us the answer and instead look for people and things and our environment in general to just give us enough so that we can start pondering. If we're sitting here waiting for people to give us the answers, we never have the opportunity to ponder ourselves and come up with our own conclusions, which is what we do here. You're not walking in and out of my room. Please shut my door. Why would you leave my door open when I need my room quiet? Please leave and don't come back. Chapter 13, consecration of the firstborn. So get your Bible. How we do it, we read? No. Caden, out. And don't come back until I'm finished. You go back too. You're not walking in and out my room jumping around. I don't want the background. I just want to be able to read. Get your Kindle and leave. You can come back when I'm finished. But y'all coming in and out my room. This isn't a regular live. I'm reading the Bible and you need to respect it. Shut the door. Thank you for the respect. No, you should not be talking to me. No. I said stop talking and respect the fact that I need a quiet environment. Next time, ask for things before I go live, and you can ask after I go live. Thank you for shutting my door. All right, I have to be inflexible at this point because I am retraining and reprogramming my kids. This is what my content's all about if you're not familiar. I am restructuring, reprogramming, reparenting my entire family. So right now, we're in different spaces of influx. And so right now, I'm coming to the realization that I have now retrained my children from yelling. Why don't you listen to me until I yell? My children were those children, and I was that parent. And then Spirit was just like, stop yelling, and they'll actually listen. They'll listen to whatever the next prompt is. And so the prompts slowly have gone from into now we're in the space where, what you just experienced. And I recently awoken to the fact that no more, okay, this is your only chance. This is your only chance. No, you don't get any warnings. When people tell you something was an accident or they didn't mean to do something, but they have prior knowledge, they're lying. They did it on purpose, but they know that they can do it however many times and give you whatever excuse. Hey, her hands, thank you so much, and give you that excuse so that they can continue. So I learned that with my children. And I was like, no, you don't get to say you hit your brother on accident. Why? Because you're not supposed to hit your brother. So it was not an accident. It was intentional. It was an accident that you got caught. So my kids don't get a second chance anymore. The days of second chances are over. If you do something you're not supposed to do, when mommy's live, to be quiet, period. They know that I've been going live for 5 months now. I'm very proud of myself. I've been doing this for 5 months, not reading the Bible, but going live. I'm very proud of myself. And those of you who are waiting for me to get to the Bible, I'm going to get to the Bible, but I'm also bless you in other ways. So please don't be so literal in your life that you are looking for someone to do exactly what they said they were going to do. And if they don't, they're wasting your time. Nothing is a waste of your time when you're living your life intentionally. And if I come into your field of awareness, trust and believe it's not a waste of your time. Spirit's doing what Spirit's gonna do. You say you walking with faith and you walking with God, but then this person's like, her thing says that she reads the Bible, and she's not reading the Bible, she's running her mouth. Yeah, because I'm supposed to be running my mouth right now. Yesterday I was on live and somebody told me that somebody's my friend. And I was like, well, I think I deserve to have a choice if this is going to be your friend. It's like you have a friend and they have a child, and so you take your friend, your daughter over there, your son over there, your child over there, and you're like, y'all be friends now. Well, maybe they don't want to be friends, but they're forced into a friendship. So I was in that situation. I was just like, I don't want to be their friend. Like, I don't like physical world friends. I like online world friends because I can control that energy and that flow, and I don't actually have to physically interact with people because I don't like that. And so God told me, just like I say this, you want to hide something from somebody. They used to say you want to hide something from somebody, put it in a book. And since I've been on this app, I was like, you want to hide something from somebody, put it in a long ass video, put it in a 3-minute video. And most of y'all just scroll right by because you don't have time for 3 minutes. Even in that 3 minutes, that could change your whole perspective. What you've been praying for is probably in that 3-minute video, but you'll never know because you don't have time for 3-minute videos on TikTok. Now I'm going to add to that. You want to hide that from somebody. Tell somebody you're going to talk about a particular subject and talk about another subject before it. And we're so programmed that we must get exactly what something says because that's exactly what we're looking for. We overlook everything that we encounter. And we just taint it. It's that low self-esteem language, low self-esteem mentality, lack mentality. It manifests in so many different ways. It ain't got nothing to do with money. Lack mentality has nothing to do with money. It is a lifestyle that we all need to reprogram ourselves. All right, that's the end of the tangent. Young 15-minute tangent. Let's go. Consecration of the firstborn. Oh yeah, how we read the Bible. I read, I speak my piece. I love for you guys to double tap the screen if you're enjoying the conversation and the communion. You know, I want to know you're out there. I want to know that you're enjoying this. Talk to each other, talk to myself. I answer questions. But I'm really just analyzing. I'm not going to go back and forth with anybody of why I'm choosing to read the Bible. It's my choice. And you can choose to listen or you can choose to go about your day. And journal. We're going to journal and talk about how we can apply whatever we got from today's reading, apply it to our lives. I literally quote the Bible in my life now. I'm like, well, you know, God hardened Pharaoh's heart, and that's why, you know, so now you're going up against this adversity. Are the people giving you kickback because God has positioned them to, like, you gonna bow before me. Before I allow this to happen for you, you're going to give me the glory. So am I not getting what I'm seeking because this person that is being a block to me, are they being utilized by the devil, or is God positioning them to be blessed through this as well? So it's not just about us. So I quote the Bible in my life now because I'm reading the Bible to make the Bible a part of my life. So yeah, I quote people out of the Bible now. Well, you know it, Abraham. So that's why we're reading the Bible, because we need to make this a part of our life. Whatever is in here, I don't know, because I've never read it this intimately. We need it and we want it. Consecration of the firstborn, chapter 13. The Lord said to Moses, consecrate to me every firstborn male, the first offspring of every womb among the Israelites belong to me, whether human or animal. Then Moses said to the people, commemorate this day, the day you came out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery, because the Lord brought you out of it with a mighty hand. Eat nothing containing yeast. I just want to stop right there. I just experienced my rebirth. Her hands, Pat, you're familiar with that, the video that you watched where I'm getting the aloe vera. That is my rebirth date, 111. And so where it says commemorate this day, when you come into a new space, you can have multiple birthdays, right? I had a rebirth day, June 22 was when Spirit literally set me up out of my sleep and said, I'm going to change my life. I changed my life. Who you see today, you know, traces back to there, traces back to 2013 when I wrote my first book, What's the Best That Can Happen? Pick up your copy at LonnieLifestyle.com. But we have all these different birth dates that we can acknowledge. And 1/1/1/24 was my rebirth date. And them being released from slavery is a rebirth date for them. So that's something to commemorate. That's something that's important. That's when God showed up to you and really did their big in your life. So it's okay to acknowledge it in yourself. Acknowledge that you are a new being. You are not who you were before this day. You are a new being, and celebrate it. That's what makes it real when we actually make it real. It's not just something, oh yeah, it is my anniversary. Make it real. Eat nothing containing yeast. Today in the mouth of Aviv you are leaving, when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Hivites, and Jebusites, the land he swore to your ancestors to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey. You are to observe this ceremony in this month. For 7 days eat bread made without yeast, and on the seventh day hold a festival to the Lord. Eat unleavened bread during those 7 days, nothing with yeast in it. It is to be seen among you, nor shall any yeast be seen anywhere within your borders. On that day, tell your son, I do this because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt. This observance will be for you like a sign in your hand, on your hand, and a reminder on your forehead that this law of the Lord is to be on your lips. For the Lord brought you out of Egypt with his mighty hand. You must keep this ordinance at the appointed time, year after year. After the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites and gives it to you, as he promised on oath to you and your ancestors, you are to give over to the Lord the first offspring of every womb. All the firstborn males of your livestock belong to the Lord. Redeem with the lamb every firstborn donkey, but if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Redeem every firstborn among your sons. So you got to pay spirit, right? Hey, Kendra, you got to pay spirit in the days to come. So look, something that I've heard since I've been in the realm of spirituality and learning about working with your ancestors and working with the orishas and those types of things, I always hear you have to pay spirit. Now that I've come into the space of understanding that spirit is also energy, and we know that energy must always occupy a space, so which means there is a back and forth. I don't know energy language, but I know that energy has an exchange. It's not just one-sided. It goes back and forth. So God is energy. God is a spirit, and you ask for God. God blesses you. God wants payment. Pay spirit. I just don't know how to pay spirit. That's what I'm trying to work through. How do you pay spirit? I don't know. I put some food on my altar. I don't know. But I see God wants payment too. God wants thanks too. God wants acknowledgement too. Coming continuously going, please stop. Continuously going to God. I wish I knew. I'm trying to figure it out. People constantly going to God, asking, receiving, and just saying thanks. No, they over here building altars, sacrificing firstborns, and all kinds of stuff to show and to pay spirit. So we just have to figure out, in our relationships with our higher selves and our consciousness and God and our ancestors and whatnot, the orishas, whatnot, what does that look like? How do I say and give thanks? We gonna work it out. We gonna figure it out, friend. In the days to come, when your sons ask you, what does this mean? Say to him, with a mighty hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. When Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, the Lord killed the firstborn of both people and animals in Egypt. This is why I sacrifice to the Lord the first male offspring of every womb and redeem each of my firstborn sons. And it will be like a sign on your hand and a symbol on your forehead that the Lord brought us out of Egypt with his mighty hand. Crossing the sea. Crossing the sea now. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, though that was shorter. For God said if they faced war, they might change their mind and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by the desert road towards the Red Sea. The Israelites went up out of Egypt ready for battle. For God said, if they face war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God just brought these people about a slavery. I don't know where your mind goes when you think about slavery. But God just brought these people. Please go away from my door or you will go out of the house. I don't know what slavery looks like in your mind's eye. But these people just were removed to slavery. But you have to understand that this is a mentality. Slavery is a mentality. Poverty is a mentality. Whatever it is you are whatever you are actively escaping in your life is a mentality. So it's not for you to physically escape it. It's for you to also do to work to mentally, in your heart, in your solar plexus. You have 3 brains. 1, 2, 3. All of these things are always actively thinking. All of these things are actively guiding you. All of these things are actively speaking to you. So when you remove yourself physically from a situation, you must also mentally, in your heart and in your knowing, your gut, remove yourself from these situations. So these people were moved out of the physical bonds of slavery, but they still were slaves in their minds. And because they were still slaves in their minds, that is what is normal to them. Their normal isn't your normal. My normal isn't your normal. So we look at someone who is experiencing something in their life, maybe DV or something like that, and you're looking at them like, why don't you just leave? That's normal. And then when they leave and they encounter any type of resistance, like, oh my gosh, now I can't pay my bills, they will go back to slavery, to DV, to substance abuse, to alcoholism, to, whatever it is, they will go back to that because it's normal. And it is easier to live within what is normal than it is to do the work to free yourself. Free your mind and the rest will follow. Free this and this follows. Free this, but you still got to free this. You still got to free this, and you got to free this. This is the power of visualization. This is the power of moving yourself from this space physically to this space physically, because you freed your mind. You created it here. Thank you for the love. You created it here. You spoke it and lived it as though it was so before it was physically your reality. And that's why when the slaves were freed, when Rosa Parks, what did she say? I can't say what she said. She was like, I could free their bodies, but I couldn't free their minds, or something like that. It wasn't Rosa Parks. Harriet Tubman. Y'all know who I meant. Don't discredit me or discount me because I say the wrong name. You know what sis meant. Harriet Tubman. I could free their bodies, but I couldn't free their minds. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph had made the Israelites swear an oath. He had said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up with you from this place. Ashe. After leaving Succoth, they camped at Etham on the edge of the desert. By day, the Lord went ahead of them on a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people. They were guided. You are being guided by life. Understand, whether you see the pillar of light ahead of you, as long as you know that you are on path and you are doing your purpose and you're doing your big in this lifetime, you are guided, period. Trust it and know it. Trust it and know it. Trust it and know it. Number 14, or chapter 14. Then the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites to turn back and encamp near Pi-Hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea. They are to encamp by the sea, directly opposite Baal-Zephon. Pharaoh will think the Israelites are wandering around the land in confusion, hemmed in by the desert. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them. But I will gain glory for myself through Pharaoh and all his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. So the Israelites did that. Oh, Pharaoh was like, I got some, not Pharaoh. God was like, these kids really are bothering me, but it's Saturday, so I'm going to allow. This is what Saturday energy is like. God was like, yeah, this chess, not checkers. When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their minds about them and said, Pharaoh and his officials, the group think. A lot of our men in our community, our women too, but I'm talking to our men because we must free our minds, right? A lot of our men in our community subscribe to groupthink. They will really like a person that they're interested in, but they'll go to their friends, and whatever their friends say actually determines how they treat that person. So Pharaoh and his officials, groupthink, pay attention to that. Are you making your decisions based on what other people are saying? You need to be making your decisions based on what you're receiving from higher self. So true, Sonia. Thank you for the love. You have to make sure you're making your decisions. You can talk to your wise counsel. That's why you surround yourself with wise counsel. But your wise counsel is confirmation. They're not making the decisions for you. And when your friend makes a decision opposite of what you suggested, don't take it personally. It's their life. Like, stop trying to control your friend's life. Meanwhile, your life is out of control. Stay focused. What have we done? We have let the Israelites go and have lost their services. Oh my goodness. So he had this chariot made ready. Boom. Civil War was just a show. Civil War was just a moneymaker. Civil War, we were never released from slavery. We were never released from bondage because slavery is a mentality. Harriet Tubman knew that I could free their body, but I couldn't free their mind. I could have saved more if they actually knew that they were slaves. The actual quote's going to come to me. I could have saved more if they actually knew that they were slaves. And the slaves owners knew that. So they were like, we can free their body, but we will still have their mind. So when I sit here and say that we are still slaves and don't even know it, I'm thinking from the physical world, but no, we are still mentally encased in slavery and don't even know it. And we've been there. Wake up, y'all. So he had his chariot made ready, and the Civil War was just a moneymaker. It was just a show. It was just another way to kill us. And, they were willing to sacrifice their own, but it really was just a moneymaker. Because when the Civil War popped, Civil War, agreed. Thank you, Kendra. When the Civil War popped off, it began making money. It was a show. So he had his chariot made ready and took his army with him. He took 600. Don't think that people aren't out here playing war games. Like, they start training us with the video games. And, don't think that people aren't playing war games with real people while they're playing war. You think that someone's going to feel remorse for causing the demise of other humans? No, they are playing war games with real humans. He took 600 of the best chariots along with all the other chariots of Egypt, with officers over all of them. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, so that he pursued the Israelites who were marching out boldly. The Egyptians, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, horsemen and troops, pursued the Israelites and overtook them as they camped by the sea near Pi-hahiroth, opposite Baal-zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified and cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses, was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to this desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert. Moses answered the people, do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today you'll never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Your faith in God's ability to show up in your life is only as big as your faith in God to show up in your life. My faith in God for your life is only my faith in God for your life. You have to have the faith. Moses had the faith. The people didn't. God can't use you. God can't bless you until you're ready for the blessing. But if you're stuck in the faith and every time a little piece of growth shows up and you're like, oh my God, this is uncomfortable. God, I just want to go back to where I was. I know I complained and I said I didn't want it my entire life, but this is so uncomfortable. I just want to go back. I've said it. I'm mocking myself. I was like, God, can we just go back to where we were? Like, can we just be restored to where we were? Yes, I want wealth. Yes, I am creating this beautiful reality for my family for generations to come. But things are so uncomfortable right now. Can you just restore us? And I was like, Lonnie, pay attention to your prayers. Do you truly want restoration? Because, yes, we are robbing Peter to pay Paul now. But before, it was, just put it on the credit card. Is that really how you want to live? Is that what you want to be restored to? Do you really want to be restored back to slavery? Whatever your encampment is that what you truly want? Or can you be uncomfortable? Grow that faith muscle so that you truly can go into the promised land that is flowing with milk and honey. We're seeing right now why these people couldn't enter the promised land. We think it's because of whatever they specifically said in the times that they couldn't, but we are seeing right here, you cannot enter the promised land if you don't do the work. Do you understand? You cannot get into whatever it is that you are manifesting, whatever you are actively manifesting, the reality that you are creating in your life. If you are not doing the work to change this, you ain't going. You're going to be out in the wilderness and you choose how long. Moses can't have faith for you. I can't have faith for you. I can help encourage you, but you must develop the faith. Then the Lord said to Moses, why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water so that the Israelites can go through the sea and on dry ground. I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them. And I will gain glory through Pharaoh and all his army, through his chariots and his horsemen. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I gain glory through Pharaoh, his chariots and his horsemen. Oh yeah, you're going to respect. God said you're going to get down or you're going to get down. You're going to know me either way. You're going to know me or you're going to know me. Which way you want to know me? Because you're going to know me by the end of this. Pharaoh, you played yourself, homie. And I can't, you literally, it almost is almost like a zombie type situation. Because if God kept hardening Pharaoh's heart, it's like God had a vendetta. Like, maybe Pharaoh was hard-nosed in the beginning, right? But at some point, especially after all these plagues, after Pharaoh's firstborn got taken off the throne, like after all of this, maybe Pharaoh was like, okay, but Pharaoh didn't do whatever it is God wanted to happen. But did God ever communicate to Pharaoh, I need you to prostrate before me. I need you to acknowledge that I am God. What did he ever communicate to Pharaoh? What Pharaoh needs to do in order to stop this? Because Pharaoh is only in pursuit, per my understanding, and this is me talking, so I'm allowed to say what I want to say. Did Pharaoh truly want to pursue the Israelites, or did he pursue the Israelites because God hardened his heart? Are we doing things because we are thinking to do it, or is something causing us to do it? I understand the question, I just can't verbalize it. Are we being controlled? And what are we being controlled by? Are we being controlled by pride? Are we being controlled or guided by, better language? Are we being guided by God? What is guiding us? What is controlling us? I guess the difference between that is we're guided by God, we're guided by spirit, we're being controlled by emotion, we're being controlled by, different things. So we have to just pay attention. Are we being guided or are we being controlled? Because it's always happening. Always happening. You're always being guided or you're being controlled. You have to decide. Slothfulness, laziness, that could be what's controlling you. And all of those things, all of those unfavorable attributes of humanity are all manifestations of demons. So pay attention to that. We are entertaining the devil all the time. Every time we are not living to our highest potential, we are entertaining the devil because we are here to do God's work in all things. We are to honor ourselves because the God within us. We are here to honor ourselves, live to our highest potential, in all things. So if there is any aspects of our reality where we are not showing up for ourselves and showing up for others, true selfishness is selflessness. Merch available at LonnieLifestyle.com. True selfishness is selflessness, which means in order to look out for me, I must look out for you first. You know, I must lift you, and I may lift some people who are like, all right, thanks, and they're gone. There's some people like that out there. But God saw that you lifted someone. So whether they reach back and lift you up, or God saw that you lifted someone else, you will be lifted as well. And thank you for the love. You know, so you have to, true selfishness is selflessness. Live your life selflessly, and you will begin to see how you can glorify God in all things. Then the angel of God, who had been traveling in front of the Israel's army, withdrew and went behind them. The pillar of cloud also moved from in front of and stood behind them, coming between the armies of Egypt and Israel. Throughout the night the cloud brought darkness to the one side and light to the other side, so neither went near the other all night long. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on a dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. I'm saying, I know it's something to develop faith. I know it's a process because it took me all of 2023. It's taken me my entire life, but actively coming to a formula to develop faith all of 2023. So I get it. But I'm saying, if I'm walking through the ocean, the sea, I'm walking through the sea, and I'm looking to the right and I'm looking to the left, and there's the sea, and there's the sea, and this is dry ground, which means you got to think, and I've heard a pastor say this, but this is real. Like, when God parted the sea, God didn't just part the sea, because God can part the sea, but hold on. I've walked in the ocean, and you can, it's hard, it's not mushy, but, you know, I'm just thinking, you know, the sea floor, it got to have some give, so these people are able to pull their carts, because remember, when they left Egypt, they had things. It wasn't just their feet. So they're pulling carts and, you know, all these different heavy things off of the sea floor. So God didn't only part the sea, but also made the floor to where they can walk on it and pull their things through successfully. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of factors here. At this point, my faith would have been a little bit more encouraged. I would have been like, this is some wild stuff. Okay, this what God do? But this is immediately after slavery. This is immediately coming out of hardship. I don't know if I still would even know what faith is. Belief in God is, especially if I've lived an entire lifetime in Egypt devoid of God. So these Israelites don't even, potentially, I don't know, don't even know who God is. So who is doing this? I don't know if they know, because they've been raised, and based on what they do after they get out, we can assume they don't know God. So can we be mad at them for not knowing who God is if they were raised? Can we be mad at ourselves if we could flip it the other way? Can we be mad at ourselves because we don't know how to pay spirit? Can we be mad at ourselves because all we know to do is YouTube and use these different social medias to try to figure out and reconnect to who we are? Can we be mad at ourselves? Maybe we should give ourselves some grace. We should give ourselves some grace, because the journey back is a journey, right? So the Israelites didn't know who the God of Abraham, Jacob, and Joseph was. And us, who were raised on the God of their version of the God of Abraham, Joseph, and Jacob, we don't know who the Orishas, spirit, the fact that we can communicate. They made us so scared of spirit that they made it into this spooky thing. In reality, our ancestors are around us all the time. So we have to, you know, just like they had to learn who God is, we have to learn who God is too for us. So let's give ourselves grace is what I'm saying. I just had to walk myself through there. I knew there was meaning somewhere. I just had to find it. Do you understand? That's how you go through life. You have to just start rambling. Just start rambling. And ultimately, spirit will kick in and it'll connect the dots for you. But if you're not even willing to allow yourself the space to theorize and to ramble and to sound crazy, because I know y'all be sitting listening to my videos like, sis, you sound crazy. But if you sit through it long enough, I'm literally working a theory out in front of you. I do this because y'all, I said people want these big, beautiful pink lips. Y'all want the build up? My lips be getting stuck. Y'all want those problems? Kaden, go to your room. Yeah. And thank you for the love. The Egyptians pursued them. All Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horses followed them into the sea. During the last watch of the night, the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire and clouded the Egyptian army and threw it into confusion. He jammed the wheels of their chariots so that they had difficulty driving. And the Egyptians said, "Let's go away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting for them against us." See, the Egyptians knew, but what happened? What happened? Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea so that the water may flow back over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen." Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at daybreak the sea went back to its place. The Egyptians were fleeing toward it, and the Lord swept them into the sea. Whew! The water, so half of the people were walking in fear, but in faith, and the other people were walking in fear because they got to do like, yo, whoever's joining the military, thank you for your service, because you gotta go whether you want to go or not. Like that's a big thing. Thank you for your service, truly. Lord swept them into the sea. The water flowed. Doesn't that give that new meaning? You know, they have us say all these different things in life. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. You're a serviceman. Thank you for your service. When you think that these humans have chosen to live a life of servitude in honor or whatever their reasoning why, for their country. Jeffrey Dahmer joined the military for a completely different reason than maybe your father or your mother did. You know, so everybody who chooses to go into a position of service isn't for the right reasons, you know. But for those who did, to think about that. Pharaoh's army had to go into the Red Sea whether they wanted to or not. Our military men and women and humans have to go into different situations whether they want to or not. And if you know that, and they're doing it in theory for defense of our freedom, we all know the truth, but that's okay. You know, there's gonna be a war because we gotta make money, so we must have people to fight in the war, and there's people who are willing to do it. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Ain't no joke. Thank you for your service. Truly. When you can make those connections and you can truly be thankful, like, I'm not just saying it, I truly mean it, because of sacrifice. And then going in knowing, and I looked at the word trauma on the wall at the exact same time, knowing you are potentially going to come out with PTSD, and you still do it. Thank you for your service. I'm not going to do any healing points there. Oh, thank you, Kendra. I'm not going to go into any healing points there because that's not the energy I want to be in, but thank you. The Lord swept them into the sea. The water flowed back and covered the chariots and horsemen. The entire army of Pharaoh that had followed the Israelites into the sea, not one of them survived. Thank you for your service. But the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. That day the Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians. Israel saw the Egyptians lying dead on the shore. And when the Israelites saw the mighty hand of the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and put their trust in him and in Moses, his servant. They put their trust in the Lord not because of love, but because of fear. And then we wonder why our homes are shaping and moving the way that they are, because we are gaining respect out of fear. not love. The Lord did it first. Chapter 15, the Song of Moses and Miriam. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted, both horses and driver. He has hurled into the sea. The Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will praise him, my Father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a warrior. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army he has hurled into the sea. The best of Pharaoh's officials are drowned in the Red Sea. The deep waters have covered them. They sank to the depths like a stone. Your right hand, Lord, was majestic in power. You are right, or your right hand, Lord, shattered the enemy. In the greatness of your majesty, you threw down those who opposed you. You unleashed your burning anger. It consumed them like stubble by the blast of your nostrils. This is a long song, y'all. It's still going. Y'all want me to keep singing, though? The waters piled up. The surging water stood up like a wall. The deep waters congealed in the hearts of the sea. The enemy boasted, I will pursue, I will overtake them, I will divide the spoils, I will gorge myself on them, I will draw my sword, and my hand will destroy them. But you blew with your breath, and the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who among the gods is like you, Lord? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in glory, working wonders? You stretch out your right hand, and the earth swallows your enemies. In your unfailing love, you will lead the people you have redeemed. In your strength you will guide them to your holy dwelling. The nations will hear and tremble. Anguish will gripe the Lord of Philistia. The chiefs of Edom will be terrified. The leaders of Moab will be seized with trembling. The people of Canaan will melt away. Terror and dread will fall on them by the power of your arm. They will be as still as a stone until your people pass by, Lord, until your people you brought pass by. You will bring them in and plant them on the mountain of your inheritance, the place, Lord, you made for your dwelling, the sanctuary, Lord, your hands established. The Lord reigns forever and ever. Chapter 15, verse 13. In your unfailing love. So we've been reading this Bible since Genesis, and now we're in Exodus. Verse 13, in your unfailing love. What has God's love looked like so far? That's a good journal point. What does God's love look like so far? Now let's analyze what our love looks like. When Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and horsemen went into the sea, the Lord brought the water of the sea back over them, but the Israelites walked through the sea on dry ground. Then Miriam, the prophet Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed. Okay, Aaron's sister. But Miriam is Moses' wife, right? Who did Moses marry? Anyway. With timbrels and dancing, Miriam sang to them. Oh, here comes another song, y'all. Sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Both horses and drivers he has hurled into the sea. All right, she had a short song. The waters of Mahar and Elam. Then Moses led Israel from the Red Sea, and they went into the desert of Shur. For 3 days they traveled in the desert without finding water. When they came to Marah, they could not drink its water because it was bitter. That is why the place is called Marah. So the people grumbled against Moses, saying, "What are we to drink?" Then Moses cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a piece of wood. So, before we get into that, Just think about our children. We do all these great blessing things to our children, and we're like, you're so ungrateful. Why are our children ungrateful? Where do we see anywhere in here where the Israelites were taught gratitude? Where did they teach them how to be grateful? So when you're doing these great things for your children and you think that they should express gratitude, have you taught them how to truly appreciate things? I literally sat here and saw to truly show gratitude to our servicemen and women and humans, because I see the sacrifice. I see that you have to go into places and spaces that you don't even align with, but it's the mission. And the mission comes first. You know what I'm saying? So now I can come from a space of gratitude. I can come from a space of gratitude. I can come from a space of gratitude. So if you feel that your children are ungrateful, it is time for you to sit them down and teach them how to move in gratitude. But you have to know how to move in gratitude first. And if you knew how to move in gratitude, do not disillusion yourself. If you knew how to move in gratitude, your children would know how to move in gratitude, because you have transferred all that you know how to transfer, correct? So if your kids are ungrateful, if you have any complaints about your kids, they're merely mirrors. This is what I came to understanding when they say we are mirrors. God will put, when you're moving in divinity, when you're not still, they're annoyances. But when you are moving in divinity, every person, everything, every circumstance, everything comes into your field of awareness, because it is a reflection, and it is a delivering a message to you. So if I am talking to you, I am a reflection and I am delivering a message. Whatever part of my live stream you catch was specifically for you. It may seem unimportant in the time, but understand that you're living your I'm reading on the wall, it says derive meaning from everything. It was insignificant. Everything that people ask me what's on my wall. I have an idea board, and I have a book that I planned on writing when I first started this, and it stopped at that because I can't write books. So far I haven't had the ability to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to write on this subject. The 2 books that I have written were channeled, which means I sat down at the computer and Spirit just took over and wrote those books. My entire life, because I've identified as a writer, I've identified as an author, I still identify as an author, I still identify as a writer. That is one of my gifts of the spirits. I am a teacher, and I can teach from speaking, I can teach from writing, I can any type of form of communication I can teach in those modalities, because that is my gift of the spirit. God has blessed me in that. But I have yet to be able to sit down and write. I have yet to be able to sit down and speak on a particular agenda, because that is not divinity. Divinity for me, I can only speak for me, is for me to connect the dots and find how everything is interconnected, everything is gridded. I am never going off on a tangent. I am literally just saying this is connected to this, and it's connected to this. And if you can understand that nothing is happenstance. Yes, I put those words on my walls because I was I had intentions of writing a book last year when I first started experiencing this space of this awakening. And that's as far as it's gotten. I was able to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chapters out of everything that's on my wall. And even within those chapters, those go off into other places. They're not specifically about those things. I don't have that capability, because I see the grid of life. I see how everything's interconnected. And I put those words on my walls because those are things that I wanted to write about. But every time I sit here and I'm teaching and I'm speaking on a particular subject, Spirit is also speaking to me and through me to those words so that I see confirmation. Now, when I'm saying everything has meaning and nothing is for accident, take everything in and process it for your greater good, because you are being led. Now I see deriving meaning from everything. Confirmation. Use your environment. Use your connectivity to spirit. Live life intentionally. have to sign out. I'm going to check out the study videos that you posted on YouTube. Thank you, Sonia. I know you're not here anymore because I was in one of my things. But yes, YouTube, Lonnie Appleton Live. I repost everything over there. We are doing the work. You know what I'm saying? We're doing the work. We're healing ourselves, and we're not just reading this so that we can analyze this. We are utilizing this so that we can analyze our lives. Then Moses cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a piece of wood. He threw it into the water, and the water became fit to drink. There the Lord issued a ruling and instruction for them and put them to the test. He said, if you listen carefully to the Lord your God and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to your commands and keep all your decrees, I will not bring on you any of the disease I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. A threat. If you do this, if you do that, that was a threat. I'll bless you through I'll favor you if you walk my line. This is the expression of God's love. And then we look at how we express our love to our spouses and to our offspring and to our friends and our family. And we just start paying attention. This was an expression of love from God. Verse 25, chapter 15. That's a journaling point. Read that and analyze that. And when we say that we are raising our families in accordance to God's law, this is potentially why your relationship with your loved ones is hanging on by a string. If you fall in line, I will bless you. If you do as I say, I will give you the things that you want. I will withhold the things that you want because you're not moving and living how I say that you should move and live. We all run our households that way. So did God. Then they came to Elim, where they were 12 springs and 70 palm trees, and they camped there near the waters. All right, manna and quail, chapter 16, we'll read tomorrow. We did 3 chapters today. We had some good conversation. I'm Lonnie Appleton. I'm a healthy family advocate. If you're not familiar with me, I advocate for the health and wellness and restoration of our families, our communities, our society, the world. We can energetically impact the world by impacting ourselves and changing ourselves and healing ourselves. So that's the work that we do here. We have some very real, pushing conversations that are going to make us feel uncomfortable, because in that uncomfortable space is where the healing takes place. I have merch. I have a website. I have books. I offer coaching services, mentor services. I offer what I refer to as an energy worksheet. So we work through whatever energy that you are working through and you need a little bit of assistance. It's just one thing, and I haven't been able to gain confidence. I create the energy worksheet based off of connectivity with your higher self and, my higher self. We work together to create a piece of, contemplation, so that you can start contemplating your life. And we often find that with the individuals that I've worked with, we often find we start here and we end up way over there. So we're not only healing this as intended, we're healing all of this. So, healing is tentacly. It's not just one thing. This one thing leads us to all of this. So if we heal this one thing, we heal all of this, but we must be intentional. If you need help in a guidebook, I have my book, What's the Best That Can Happen, available on Amazon. Just make sure the seller is Lonnie Taylor. You can always go to my website, Lonnie Lifestyle, check out all of my services, check out my merch. Always support the community by dropping $1 or $2 into my Cash App, Lonnie Appleton. It's in the pin as well as in my bio. You can always support the community any way that you feel compelled to support the community. But understand, everything is an energy exchange. Do not take without giving. You can, at the bare minimum, double tap the screen, conversate with me. Now you're giving me energy as you were receiving my energy. So now it's an energetic exchange. But if you were just taking and you're not giving anything in return, and money is currency, money is energy. So you can donate because you've been blessed from the message. You can shop merch if you've been blessed from the message. You can buy the book for $14.95 if you've been blessed by the message. You can book the services because you respect and you know that my connectivity is the real motherfucking deal, and you can help really truly do the work to healing yourself by booking a coaching service, by booking an energy worksheet. So all those different things. So I'm available. Make sure if you do not follow the community, you're following the community and you're really getting in here to do the work, because that's what we do. And we're just a dope ass squad. Like, yo, hashtag sister support. My sis last night, on the live, and she brought it back. Hashtag sister support. We are out here truly supporting each other in sisterhood, humanity. I am a sister and I am supporting. So it's not limited to females. It's not limited to race. We are standing together in unification. And because I am a sister and I am your sister support. Have a great day.